Dich nicht zum Lachen bringen. Ich schwöre, wenn du mich zum Lachen bringst. 140 to 144, depends on the drums. Track pants, sneakers and a lot of water. When it comes to techno, definitely the early 2000s, 2001 to 2003-4. Like labels like Compound and Audio Assault or Submissions. But of course also artists from nowadays like Shadow and Obscure Shape or Dex J are a big influence for me. Actually, Shadow and Obscure Shape are my biggest influence, and Marco from Shadow and Obscure Shape, he showed me a lot of music from back in the days, and that really inspired me. So my musical taste wouldn't be like it is today without him. Since about 9 to 10 years. So we had one little very bad club in the city where I grew up. It was really the only place where you could go for partying, and the DJ there played the same tracks every weekend. And at some point I just got really bored and thought this needs to get done better. So this was the point where I started digging for music, looking for music which is not known to everybody, and looking for equipment which you can use for DJing and how to DJ. And there was absolutely no electronic music scene existing in this place of Germany where I grew up. So I didn't have any influence. There was no input for me. And I think that's also the reason why I started with much more accessible music in the beginning. This was in 2017 at Amsterdam Dance Event. I had a gig there on Saturday, but I already arrived on Friday, and a friend of mine hooked me up and said, I will go to Gashauder tonight for Awakenings, do you want to come with me? And I said, sure, yeah, let's hang out. So I went there with him, and I had no musical expectations. I just thought we will meet some people. We went in really early, not many people were there, and Nastia was playing the beginning. She was playing like super old school techno, and I went in and I was dancing straight away in the first row, and I had so much fun. This was actually the first time when I really understood techno, because the surrounding made sense and I felt the music, and yeah, I just felt the music. And I couldn't stop dancing. I had so much fun, and that's something I didn't experience for a very long time. And yeah, so this was like the start of it. And then on the next day, actually the same happened again. He hooked me up for another party. We went on the stage, and there was also techno playing. And again, I felt this energy, and I couldn't stop dancing. I had so much fun. I was just looking at him, smiling all the time because I couldn't believe it that I loved it so much. And later we went out of this tent, and I told him, dude, I can't produce any more house music because I feel techno so much. And he said, yeah, why not? And of course, in the beginning I was afraid. It's a big risk for my career, because when you already have a fan base, it's definitely a risk to make such a drastic change. But I always told to myself that I will always do this kind of music which I love, and what I felt there I haven't felt before for music, and that's why I started then producing techno. I don't know what my profession would be today, but before I was a DJ and producer, I was working as an apprentice in a hotel for 3.5 years. So I was learning everything from the reception to the restaurant to the rooms. And it was pretty much fun to do this job. So it could be possible that I still do it today. It's really important to be patient, to make the first steps and invest as much time as possible to focusing on producing, or if you're just a DJ, then with digging in music and understanding music, and I think that's one of the most important things. Basically because I wanted to have my own platform where I can be musically completely free and release whenever I want, because sometimes with other labels you have to wait 6 to 8 months, and then it's really difficult to plan like your next releases when all the labels have like different release schedules. And I also think it's really important that the whole package of a release is on point, so that the artwork fits perfect to the music, and if you do videos, these are also fitting to the vibe, to the mood of the tracks. And when you have your own label, you can do whatever you want, obviously, and other label bosses have their own vision, and most of the time it's not 100% like your vision. And that's why I started Outworld. I think it's still important because labels have their own fan base, and when you sign to them, you get to reach to new people, to a new fan base. But on the other hand, labels also have like a very clear picture of how music for the label should sound like, and I know how it is. In the beginning, you tend to maybe think about how can I produce my track that it fits on the label, and that's not how it should be. So I think it's also very important to just do the music 100% as you like to do it. And with the social media platforms today, you can also build your own community and your own fan base. So I think it's good if you do both, like sign to a label, but also focus on your own community. I don't plan the amount of EPs I release every year. It depends how the workflow is and what feels right. But I think like 3 or 4 EPs a year is a good good amount, but it can also be less. And the next EP I will probably release in about 8 weeks. I just have to finish one more track, and then the EP is finished, and then we can start pressing the vinyls already. Track names always start with a mood which the track gives to me. In best case, some pictures or like a scene in my head, and that's how I always take out the idea of the track name. And when I do a full EP, I try to build the other names of the tracks around it, but of course they also need to fit to the mood of the tracks. I produce fully digital with Ableton. Between 25 and 35, I would say. I think it's Hexenmeister, because it was the first time ever I used a German vocal, and I also feel related to this vocal because we learned this poem in school. I think it has a special vibe to it because the vocal is so dark and like a demon speaking. I can't remember which was the first vinyl actually, but I know which was the first CD. It was the Eminem Show by Eminem. Oh, I had a really, really shitty, cheap reloop controller. I think it's called Reloop Digital Jockey 2 or something. But after 2 months, I sold it again because it was really boring to play with that. And then I saved money to buy my first CDJs, which was the CDJ 1000 MK1 at that time. But it took me some time to afford it. It used to be the Zone 92 from Alnatees, but since they released the 96, that's my favorite because they really improved the mixer, and I love the 4-band EQ, and the filters are really smooth, and it's an analog mixer, it sounds really good. Yeah, I'm always super nervous, sometimes so nervous that I can't even speak to other people like right before my set because I just try to calm down and don't freak out. But as soon as the first track is playing, it's gone. I don't prepare them a lot. Normally I just prepare an intro, and when I buy music I sort them after the month when I bought them. Of course, I have some folders like classics, or if there's a certain genre where I just have a few tracks, then I put them in a special folder. But mainly, I sort everything just after the month I bought them. Classic question. That's really difficult to answer. It depends on so many things, like the crowd and the surrounding and like the whole mood. But when it comes to locations, and I would say it's Hidi in Tbilisi, Georgia, and Compass in Ghent, because both like are high-end clubs. They have a really raw industrial feeling, so it's perfect for techno. They have a really music-addicted crowd there. And yeah, I think these are definitely one of my faves. Definitely would love to play at Possession Warehouse party in Paris, or Gamma Festival in Russia. I think there are always some people, especially in the front rows, where you have eye contact to and where you feel a connection. And yeah, of course it's amazing if there are some people really going crazy, but I also appreciate every other person who's dancing more for themselves. I think it's most important that everybody's just having a good time for themselves.